We're just a couple of friends that have been playing games for decades, and here we're going to be exploring the depths of gaming's past, digging through the trash and the treasure of the past, in search of the hidden gems we might have missed when we were younger. That makes a lot of sense that this is the first game that we would like officially review on our channel, because we were go on. No, I was gonna say, but yeah, we were such big fans of this franchise at the time that this came out. It's just funny. Although this one came out like to coincide with Lethal Weapon 3, and I think you and I were tiring of it at that point.
Yeah. How many were there? 4?
There were 4, and I don't think, I mean, we saw 3 together in the theater.
Yeah, no, I think 4 was probably like when
I don't know that we ever saw 4.
I
mean,
think
not,
I might have
not together, but I don't even know if I'm not even sure if I've watched it.
It has Chris Rock in it as the fiance to Murtaugh's daughter.
Yeah, no, I kind of remember it, but I'm not even sure if I've seen the whole thing. Just
it's terrible.
Bits and pieces of it. Yeah. Mel
Gibson's Riggs in that movie, he's got like a short haircut, and it just looks like, oh, he's just like mainstreamed now. He has no edge to him, and he's like engaged to Rene Russo's character, and they're like planning their wedding and stuff, and it's like, this is stupid.
We need more of in the beginning of the first Lethal Weapon when he's got the gun up to his head and Murtaugh's like, why don't you do it then? You just pull the trigger. No, put it down here. Put it down here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great scene, man.
That kind of scene would be so out of place in part 4. It's like, I wish they weren't making a 5th one, but they are. Even during the pandemic, they're talking about Danny Glover was quoted. Danny Glover was saying that he's seen the screenplay and that he thinks it's really relevant to current events. This was last summer. And it's like, okay, all right. He thought everyone was on board. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Or we won't see, because I don't know if I would go watch that. Director Richard Donner confirms that Lethal Weapon 5, featuring the return of Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, will be the last movie in the series. This was published on December 30th, 2020. He's 90, and he says, this is the final one. It's my privilege and duty to put it to bed. It's exciting, actually. It's the last one. I'll promise you that. It says, very little has been revealed about Lethal Weapon 5 story-wise, beyond the fact that it's set in the present day and features Riggs and Murtaugh as old men.
No shit.
Yeah. Oh, man. It says that the script by Jez Butterworth was described.
Is that Mrs. Butterworth's son?
Yes. Was described by Lethal Weapon TV show producer Dan Lin as being very personal to the 2 stars and Donner. Oh.
Maybe Riggs is finally going to put that bullet through his head.
Yeah. Oh, there's no way. How could Gibson be like front and center, with Murtaugh? Like, how could Mel Gibson is so controversial?
He's toxic right now. I don't think he can be especially in a cop movie. Like, I think that's really hard to have Mel Gibson in a cop movie as a cop that is supposed to be taken seriously. Like, I think that was the funniest thing when you and I watched Lethal Weapon together a few years ago. Well, first he's in that hostage situation where he's just like, he's walking through and just like shooting people. On the way to walking to work, and then he gets there and there's the psychiatrist lady, and she's like, yeah, he's unstable, he's unfit for this job, he's a psychopath. And the cops are like, nope, that's fine, we're just keeping him. Nope, he's damn good at what he does.
He pulls a gun in the department.
He pulls a gun again at somebody who's just like walking through.
He plays by his own rules.
It's true. He does. And then
and everything was just like laughed away with the saxophone. So bad.
I think the best though is the end of that movie when there's like 30 cops just sitting in a circle around this guy that they've already subdued, and then they make him MMA fight Riggs with them all cheering him on.
Yeah.
They've got Murtaugh's out there, break his fucking neck. Just like,
oh no, the rules, it'd have been thrown down at that point. They left their badges in the car. Yeah, like that fight scene was lit by a police helicopter.
It's literally just, here's 30 cops just beating the shit out of a suspect that cannot defend himself.
And the audience, as the audience, were like, yeah, get him, Riggs.
It's horrible on so many levels.
It is, but it's not because we're it's funny now because we're conscious of it.
Yes.
Yeah. I still really like those movies.
Oh, me too, man. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, but they are horrible.
But it's
like,
even part 2, right? Where it's like what everybody loves, dude. Diplomatic immunity.
Yeah.
Just been revoked. That's just him murdering somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It really
just
is.
Some unarmed dude flashing his badge.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that is a lot of murder.
I'm going to be Panama Joe, who was my favorite character from Montezuma's Revenge, the ColecoVision game many years ago. Treasure hunter, just like me.
Well, that's great, Panama Joe. I am Gargamel, and it's not because he's my favorite character, although I do like the ColecoVision Smurfs game, but I'm Gargamel because I have more things in common with him. Gargamel and I both like to wear black. Gargamel and I both hate Smurfs, except for Smurfette. And Gargamel has a cool laugh. And he likes cats.
Yeah, actually, you and Gargamel do have a lot in common. Never really put the 2 and 2 together, but I do really see it now.
You'll never not see it.
All right.
How far did you get?
Like I said, I beat a level and like try to dip my toe into a couple other levels, but I didn't try to like complete the whole thing. Like I read the episode descriptions, and then I went for the one where you're supposed to save Leo Getz because I wanted to see if there's like a Joe Pesci sprite or something.
Oh, I'm glad that we played different levels.
Yeah. Which one did you do?
I just did level 1. I hadn't played by the time you texted me that you beat one level, I think. And then I was like, okay, that's a good kind of a benchmark. It took me a while.
Oh, yeah. No, it wasn't easy.
No.
It's kind of difficult, kind of challenging.
It was challenging and it was frustrating, but it wasn't challenging in a fun way.
No, it wasn't fun at all.
I was like, what the? And so I don't know how the Joe Pesci level was. Wait, tell me about the Joe Pesci level. Where was that set?
You're supposed to rescue him from a hotel, I think, is what the story said. I don't know that it really looked like much of a hotel when I really think about it. Like the things that you're going in, the backgrounds didn't really, it doesn't really match like looking exactly what you call a hotel. But yeah,
climb stairs or
you went in and out of doors. You like grabbed onto like moving things. I think you're starting on the outside, maybe. Like it's hard to tell even what these things are, but I'm guessing now maybe they're supposed to be like window washing platforms or something. They're like raising and lowering on the outside.
Some kind of scaffolding.
Yeah. You just kind of go through these levels of these random looking bad guys that, they have like, there's like 3 different models or whatever. And there's like the ones that just stand in place and shoot like at a diagonal down at you. Then you get to the end eventually after doing that, like a bunch of different stages of that, and fight this mafia boss looking guy that looks like a cartoon 50s gangster or something.
That guy in a suit or something?
And then just abruptly ends when you kill him. No sprite, nothing. Then you just, it just says mission complete and you're back at the start.
I didn't bother to look it up, but I wonder if when you beat all 4 of those levels, if the end game opens up or if it's just.
I did look it up, and yeah, there is a 5th. There's a final mission after that. If you fight them, if you beat them all,
Any details on the final mission?
Yeah, look, I tried to play it first, and then like I found it really hard, and then I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. So I went and I looked at the manual.
I got lost in my level. I didn't realize there were two things, and I felt just as dumb as I did playing Double Dragon back in the day. Because remember, I was talking about how it took me a while to figure out going into that cave or the hole in the rock that opens up.
Yeah.
So my level was like on the ship docks, the shipyard.
Okay.
And there were all kinds of like holes in the ships, and I didn't realize you could go in them. There was also a part where I swear I was like at a dead end and I couldn't find out where I was supposed to go. And it turns out I was supposed to go through this pipe underwater, and there were sharks down there. And it took me a while to figure out to go through it. And I thought, oh.
All right. Lethal Weapon manual. So did you read this manual before you played?
No, I did not.
Because that may be the problem then. Look at this. For maximum enjoyment, please read this instruction manual thoroughly before playing.
Live and learn.
Dude, I mean.
Live and learn.
So we may have gotten off on the wrong foot.
Yeah. Hey, I love the fact in the description of the file on the briefing on Riggs is that he's a Vietnam vet. Trained in the techniques of the U.S. commandos, high-strung, unpredictable, and impulsive with little regard for his own safety. That's like the perfect resume for a cop.
Yeah. I mean, it's not much different than the movie.
Yeah, exactly. His incredible skill in martial arts.
I'm truly a living, breathing.
They call Murtaugh almost crazy. Right? It says crazy cop and his almost crazy partner.
Yep. They're both crazy, man.
I think of Murtaugh as the
yeah, no, he's not supposed to be crazy in the movies.
No, yeah. Yet another terrorist organization has called to say that they have planted a huge bomb in the Midtown shopping mall. You must enter the mall through the car park. Through the car park? Was this made by Brits?
I don't know.
And locate the bomb in order to defuse it.
That's the other one that I dipped my toe into. I wanted to, that part of it was that I actually wanted to see like a mall. Like that's another thing to me that just in itself kind of calls back to the past now. I mean, video games always had mall levels if they're like set in modern days, right? Like
yeah.
And so I was curious to see what the mall looked like in this game. And again, it just kind of looked like another tacked on background that could have been generic anything or anywhere. Didn't particularly look like a mall.
I also didn't like the style of the characters. They almost seemed like there was like a little bit of a big head mode.
Yeah.
It's like they're showing the characters pixelated pictures before the levels start, snaps from the movies.
Yeah.
If they're going to show that, they should at least try to make it the proportions of the humans. I don't know. It just looks a little bit wonky, especially given the fact that it's Lethal Weapon.
I mean, this is just shoddily put together, slapped on license garbage.
Right. And the level design, I can only speak for the one level, but it was just so uninspired.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing, it's just such a weird mishmash where like the enemy's on rails, right? Like they're just doing like a set, like move back and forth, fire my weapon at this point, like right, like they're like literally like 10 soldiers, and then the only thing that makes it difficult is they have that stupid timer on the levels, right? Like if you could just sit there and like get a minute to like work out the pattern of the enemies, like it's not too hard to take them out. But nope, you got this stupid timer that seems to go way too fast for what they're asking you to do and how big the levels actually are.
Yeah. I was struggling mightily, and then after I found out that you could go into the black squares by pressing up, I found a room with like 2 clocks in it, and that gave me enough time.
Yeah, that was hard. It had some weird things. Actually, I don't know if you got anything like this, but late into the Leo Getz episode, I guess you're supposed to be in air vents or something, like air ducts or something. Like it didn't seem like it was air ducts in terms of what the backgrounds actually look like. But now that I think about it, like there were parts where you had these rotating fans that would like blow air up, and like you would jump into it, and then it would like blow you up, and you're like parachuting, and or like you'd get close to like a wall, and it would be like sucking you in. And it's just such a weird platforming element to have in this, but like, and of course it was super hard. And well, I wouldn't even say hard. It wasn't that hard. It was just like, once you figure out what it is, but it's just
awkward.
It's awkward. Yeah. And it just slows you down and makes you take time. And then you got to just try and find the clocks to get through it. But
there was one thing that really irritated me when playing this game, and you're on these ropes and you have to climb up them, and then you have to get to the top and then kind of get over to the next rope.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Donkey Kong Jr. when Donkey Kong Jr. can climb up two vines a lot.
Yep. Gotcha.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That mechanic where he's using both hands and moving up between the two. And then he can very easily, he can just either
switch the left to the right.
The left or the right. And it's just such a snappy, quick mechanic that you take for granted how well Nintendo had done that when you're playing this game, Lethal Weapon, and you're messing around on these vertical pipes, and it's so frustrating, and ropes also, right. And it's so frustratingly put together. Programmers making games on the Coleco, 12 years before this, were kicking your guys' asses. Yeah. This game was like slapped together with a bunch of elements designed by amateur developers to like extend the length of the game with like almost artificial attempts to make it harder, like the timer.
Yeah. Well, again, they have enemies, right? That somehow they couldn't ever break out of their little cycle of like walk back and forth and fire. And so, yeah, it would be an easy game without a timer, right? Because they're like, oh, we can't make our enemies do anything else. So, and same thing with like the ammo too, right? Like the ammo is way too limited. And are they really expecting you to use melee combat in this game? Because that's just ridiculous with what they give you,
Yeah.
And enemies that are like firing at you, and all you can do is slowly walk up to them and then kick them from a distance in which you're instantly in their like hitbox so that you're getting hit at the same time. Like it's just, there's no possibility for tactics with this.
No.
The other problem I had with that hanging method is like, I couldn't tell, and I kind of go back to this just in generic backgrounds that they had. A lot of the things that you're supposed to be able to like grab and hang on from the ceiling, it's not obvious at all that like, oh, these are elements that you can interact with, right? Like it just looks like it's other crappy, 2D background images. And it's like, sometimes it would take me forever to figure out like, oh, I can grab onto these things. I'm just like, well, where am I supposed to go from here?
Yeah.
And it's not immediately obvious that like, oh, here's this stupid thing that just looks like this crappy, background. Oh, you can actually grab onto this, and it's like, why would I? Because the other thing is, right, it just doesn't make sense. So it's like, why would I grab onto that? There are things about it that I would say even aren't that horrible, like even, right? Like it's hard to call it redeeming qualities, but it has enough just basic elements where I was able to get through a level and sometimes like do something that I was like, oh, okay, that was mildly, entertaining, or at least, held my attention. And sometimes it was just fun to start shooting people, although I wanted to have way more bullets. But you could kind of see like almost the beginnings of something that could have been entertaining in some way, enough that it even made it more disappointing, right? You can see the difference in the polish of the Super Nintendo just as a console, and as the cleanness of the graphics that you could get if you wanted to.
Right.
That makes it so disappointing that it was just such mediocre garbage put on top of it, right? Like the minimum, I just want to get a C on this assignment effort was put into this game. And,
You know what else, though, I was thinking when I was playing it was that I thoroughly enjoyed the NES version, just the half a level that I played, much more than this.
Yeah, something about the Super Nintendo one was like soulless. But like,
exactly.
And the NES one felt, like some old shoot 'em up, but like it was for some reason more playable, I think.
Yeah, no, it definitely, just by virtue of having the 8-bit blips and bleeps, it just felt a little bit more like a game that was comfortable in its own skin, kind of. It felt less forced. This felt like Ocean was notorious for putting out crap,
right?
And this just felt like confirmation of that. And I also just couldn't help but think, because I liked the franchise so much, how disappointed I would have been had I played it in 1992.
Yeah, we would have been, we were cynics already, but we would have become much more cynical about the world if we would have played these games.
By not playing this game, we actually are better people.
Yeah. The other thing that we need to do is wrap up our conversation on Lethal Weapon. And here we're going to compare Lethal Weapon to what type of archaeological find this was, what kind of historical significance it has, what kind of treasure or prize we found, or what kind of trash we found in the annals of gaming history with Lethal Weapon for the Super Nintendo. We will get better at doing this in the future. It couldn't probably be any worse than we're going to be here. But I really was disappointed in it, I think, more than anything. You know, if I was Indiana Jones going through some old temple, or actually if I was Panama Joe going through some ancient Aztec temple, opens the Ark of the Covenant, and inside is Lethal Weapon for the Super Nintendo. How does that compare to his other finds? And I'm going to say that would be as if you found like a Jack-in-the-Box, and then you wound it up, and when it popped out, it just kicked you in the nuts because you thought it might actually be entertaining, but instead you just ended up just really disappointed and a little hurt.
Okay. That's compelling. That would inform me, had I not played it yet, on whether I should play it or not.
Yeah.
I would look at it in a similar way of through a lens of disappointment. If Gargamel were, or Indiana Jones for that matter, were searching out for a lost or forgotten unknown treasure, he might at first think he found, let's say, some bones from a sought after extinct animal from a bygone era on Earth, only to find out later that after testing it, it's actually just a couple of rib bones from a domesticated Bronze Age dog. Nothing too special. A little bit forgettable.
Yours is probably a little more accurate than mine. It's disappointment. I agree is my overall thought about this title.
Was it a disservice for us to go into this game as fans of the movie?
Probably.
Right? I mean, that was if I had no connection to the movie Lethal Weapon, I would just think it's a mediocre to crappy Super Nintendo game. But the fact that it could have been fun based on the license.